Hi, Gratitude Seeker. Welcome to a new episode of the Gratitude Podcast. Today, I have with me a really great guy. I just met him yesterday, but he's doing some awesome work. His name is Chandler from the Appreciation Nation. Appreciation Nation is his attempt to bring together all of his efforts to raise the level of appreciation in the world, which I think is amazing. And he has a really cool app that I told you about in Gratitude Reminders that you might have tested on already, or I totally advise that you should give it a go. He lives in San Rafael in California with his wife and son, but I will let him let you know more about himself and his work. Joey?
Thank you so much for having me. It's a real honor. I love what you're doing. I love that we're so far away and we're able to connect like that. It's incredible, like absolutely amazing. And I'm an appreciation guy. And what I've done is my initial project is I create tribute videos for birthdays and weddings and anniversaries. And these are videos where people say nice things about other people. And after doing that for 4 or 5 years, I just realized that all that appreciation was wearing off on me. And I ended up creating a training program. And now I created the app that you mentioned. And the whole idea is that my thought is that if we raise our levels of appreciation for ourselves and others, or as I say, it's seeing the greatness in ourselves and seeing the greatness in other people, then we will have the courage and the confidence and the chutzpah to take the next steps in whatever it is that we need to do. And because I figure the big challenges in life that we either have as individuals or our families or businesses or, honestly, the world are going to be happen by lots of baby steps. And it's not one big idea, it's lots of baby steps. And I think when we can appreciate ourselves and others, we're more likely to take those steps.
Totally. I love the idea and I love the app. I've used it myself, and it's really cool to see people's reaction and to find out things that they appreciate about you that you didn't even think about. And I love the fact that it also has a part about something like what you can count on me on, or something like this.
Yep.
And it's really interesting to see the fact that your friends, the people that are close to you, are open to helping you with all kinds of things that you didn't even think about. This is awesome. And I think it's really, really cool that it puts like a layer between you and them. And it's not like you're asking them directly, but you're asking them through an app, which makes it easier for them to express themselves and for you to receive the appreciation. Because maybe if they would have to do it face to face, they might get too emotional, or I don't know, things like these, and it might be harder for them to do this. And I think this is amazing that you created this platform for people to do this.
Yeah, thank you. And you actually mentioned there's a whole bunch of things in there which you said that in the thing about saying it in person versus on the app, we all have an internal wall. See, the problem with someone showing you appreciation isn't so much their ability to say it, it's more your ability to hear it. Because I mean, how many times people probably told you like, oh, you're amazing, your podcasting is incredible and this, all that. And you're like, it's just what I do. It's no big deal, or something like that. And you probably have said that to other people. And we just have that wall. I mean, we all do. And one of the things that kind of the impetus of all this is in my videos, we'll have 30 or 40 or 50 people say something nice about a person in a video. And at some point that wall comes down and out comes tears of joy and laughter. And that's what I was trying to replicate with the app. And the other cool part is, and you're just getting started after you get up to, 20 or 30 or 40 people, as you go back and look at those on a daily basis, like, or a weekly basis, some sort of routine, different things are going to call out to you at different times, because your life will change. And something that one person said maybe wasn't so impactful at one point, but then becomes really impactful at another point. And so it's an app that I hope will grow with people as they move through their life. And you're totally right. The real power of the app isn't the appreciation. It's like, hey, call me if you ever need help with this. It's that question. When I first beta tested it, I didn't have that question. And I would get the responses back, and I still felt alone. I still felt like, okay, great. People think I'm awesome. Now what?
Yeah.
And when I added that question, it just took all this weight off of me because I no longer felt alone. And so, even though we're connected, billion miles apart, I think a lot of us feel alone in terms of our endeavors. And I'll be honest, that right there, that thing there just yesterday saved me. Like I woke up yesterday in a horrible, or no, it was 2 days ago. I woke up in a horrible funk. I just they raised the rent at my apartment, and it wasn't good. The app wasn't going as well as I wanted, and I felt fat, and just all sorts of just horrible things. And I just pulled up that thing and I started looking. I'm like, how can who's here could help me? And I just went through the list, and I found 3 people that I'm like, I think these folks can help me. And from the app, you can send an email, and you can contact the person. So I just wrote them. And even before I got any of the answers back, I started to have this feeling of like, I don't know the answer yet, but I'm going to figure it out. And that was, and the day just shifted. And that was not going to happen. When I was laying in bed, when I woke up that way, like I was in a horrible state, but having that thing just really helped.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because many times we feel alone, even if we're with many people, or even if we're with our family or with our friends. We have this feeling, and it's so amazing to have this positive feedback somewhere, that we can look at it, like you said, daily or at least weekly. Because this is another thing that we most probably, most of us do to ourselves. Like, we are very harsh with ourselves. We are very judgmental. We tell ourselves all kinds of negative things that we would never say to another person. But hey, we can be rough with ourselves, right?
Yeah.
So having that kind of positivity from the exterior, from other people, I think is really, really useful for us and for our self-esteem and self-worth.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I ask you a question about the responses you got?
Yeah.
I'm curious, what was interesting to you, or like what was kind of like, you're like, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So like I said, the part about what they would be willing to help me with was very interesting, because for me, I don't know if this is your situation as well, or our listener's situation. Sometimes it's really hard for me to ask for help. I usually go at it alone as much as I can, and if really I can't figure it out, okay, I will ask for help. But seeing that I have people that are there for me, and that I can easily ask for help, and that they are very open to helping me, that was just amazing. And the feeling, not that maybe I actually won't actually go for it and ask for the help, but knowing that I can do that, and that someone is open for me to do that, something shifts, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Because this is the part that I find really funny. Like, if I'm sure you're one of those guys where if someone says, "Hey, I need some help with anything," you're there.
Yeah, totally.
Like, and not only that, you actually are excited about it. Like when someone says, "Hey, I actually really do, I need help," especially like if they needed help, someone like you were really good at, with the web marketing or the podcast, like, or just like, I need help thinking through stuff. And we love it when people ask us that. Like, but then when we go to think like, well, I actually need help, we're like, well, I don't want to put a burden on them. I don't want to be too much about them. And this is where things started to shift for me. Is I started to see appreciation, I say, is seeing the greatness in yourself, but also seeing the greatness in others. And if you really see the greatness in others, you know that they're going to love helping you out.
Yeah,
And
totally.
and so now I'm much more open to, you know, I, I just asking people, because people, like when I send, you know, when you send out that link to people, you you aren't putting a burden on them. You're actually giving them this huge opportunity to say how much they love you and care for you and appreciate you, and how they want to help you out. You're giving them an opportunity which they love. They absolutely love it. I had so many people just like, it was so much fun filling it out. But then, of course, when I went to send my own, I couldn't do it. So yeah, we as people, we love helping other people out, yet we so rarely give other people the opportunity to do that.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that I want to change, or, you know, that I'm trying to raise in terms of raising appreciation. Just like, no, we like it. Let's help each other out.
yeah, I believe this 100%. And one other thing that happened when I sent it out, one of my friends said, "Okay, I filled it out. Do you want to fill it out for me as well?" So he
Yeah.
created an account and he sent me the link. And I think this is awesome. Like, I was so happy to be able to do this, because I'm always trying to appreciate people and to show them the appreciation and to actually tell them what I appreciate about them. But sometimes it's weird. Like, I feel that I would like to say something, but it just, the context isn't right, or things like this. And I think this tool is very helpful with this, with creating the context to actually say this and say everything that you wanted to say. I think this is great.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And would you like a tip on how to show people appreciation when you're in person?
Yeah, totally.
So this is something that my friend Dean Jones taught me, and I was at his wedding and I was taking pictures, and I'm a photographer as well, and I took some pictures. I was just there as a guest. I wasn't like the wedding photographer, and I'm a good photographer. You know, I'm not the very best, but I'm good, and he really loves my photography. And he came up to me a couple times. He said, "Joe, I love the photos." And and I was like, "Oh, you know," I was like, "Oh, you know, great, no problem." Like, I wasn't accepting it, and he could tell that. And he did this thing that was just awesome. I was standing next to my wife, and he said, "Sue, please tell your husband that his photography is amazing. Like, it's incredible. Like, he's not getting it, but I want you to tell him that." And then when I heard that, I was like, "Oh, I'm not getting it." And so if you want to really tell somebody how amazing they are, do like that third person sort of thing. If you obviously have to have, you know, 3 people, and it's a really, like, I never got over that conversation. That I remember that conversation all the time. And it's because the reason why is because we have that wall. We're trained not to accept appreciation. We're trained not to shine light on our greatness, because we're afraid that if we shine light on our greatness, somehow that diminishes other people's greatness, which is, I suppose, hooey. And so when you say that, when you go to show someone appreciation, you have to understand that they're not in the space to hear it. Like, you kind of have to work with them a little bit, and that third person is there. Is a great way to do it.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. But I also think that we are not so open to appreciation, because many times, for instance, salespeople, at least the ones that are not very ethical about sales, they use this as a tactic. Like, they show appreciation, like, or even in some friends or some so-called friends, they use appreciation just to get something from us.
Yep.
And I think that we have this wall to protect ourselves from these kind of people, and unfortunately the wall is so well built that it doesn't let in other things as well.
Yeah. It's true. It's true. And the irony is that we all know when someone's just, you know, the vast majority of time, except for really, really good salespeople, people who are artful at, that is selling well is an art. And
Totally.
I admire those people, not the people that do it, but the people that make you feel special. And you just, and they're like incredible. They're using appreciation. They're showing that. And yeah, you end up with a sale, but there's something still positive that, but there's so much skepticism. There's so much, we're all so worried about someone taking advantage of us that we block out so much of good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this work that you're doing is very helpful for us to open up more to this kind of appreciation, because most probably most people will just tell what they feel about us, and it's something that, like, they don't want anything else. They just want to show their appreciation. And in time, when we see more people doing this, we might get more open to actually receiving appreciation in general, and not be so skeptical about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what I also wanted to ask you is, what is gratitude for you? And also, I know that you have a really strong opinion about the difference between gratitude and appreciation, and I want to tell us a few words about that.
Yeah. So gratitude is super important. It's to me, it's um, it's accepting and honoring and all that you have. And so many of us have so much more than we think that gratitude practice opens up. Where I love appreciation more than gratitude is, to me, appreciation is the expression of gratitude to someone else. And so that's where because I think there's something incredibly powerful about saying why you appreciate someone, or why you appreciate a business, or why you appreciate anything and then why you appreciate yourself. Like Joey, like you did something good. That's something I had to learn to honor my growth. So I love the idea of people expressing their gratitude to other people. So the way I think gratitude is the foundation, but ultimately I think appreciation is gratitude expressed. And I think there's just something so powerful in expressing of it. And do you want, I know you read a lot of, I'm sure you read a lot of like leadership books and self-development books. You want to know why? You would like to hear how I say appreciation will give you all the training you need?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the coolest thing. So one of the things I do is probably every week, I pull out my smartphone and I do a little video tribute to somebody. And I say, let's say we were doing it to Paul of the Wearpreneurs that we both know, right? Like I would say, Paul, you're amazing, dedicated, so thoughtful, just an inspiration, and you just keep going. Like you just keep working at it. And I just admire you for that. Thank you. And I would take that video and I post it on his Facebook page. Just do it randomly and you put it up there. Now, if you do that enough, and you show that appreciation, here's what happens. When you go to appreciate somebody, you have to get outside of yourself. Fundamentally, you have to think about them. And that's, so much of business and leadership is the ability to get outside of yourself and into the other person's shoes. So that's a little training on that. Then you have to deal with the fact that you're like, am I saying the right thing? Will they think what I'm saying is funny? Like, will it be embarrassing? If you do it publicly, what will other people think? So you have all these human fears. And when you take action, when you record that video, when you say it publicly, when you appreciate someone publicly, you're taking action in the face of fear, and that's courage. And of course, pretty much every leadership book nowadays is like, look, it's not grit and mindset, right? It's about moving forward. It's about taking the next step. And you're also very vulnerable, because when you tell someone that they're great, you're exposing your own greatness. Like you're giving, someone else is gonna be like, well, if you're telling me I'm great, I'm gonna tell you why you're great. And that's vulnerability, which is Brene Brown's, right? And so then you've got your grit, you got your vulnerability. And then what happens is you create these amazing ripples. Like when I say appreciation to somebody, then it spreads out into the world and it comes back in all sorts of different ways. And that's leadership. That's like, dropping that pebble in the pond, and that's putting out there. And that ultimately, like if then you start to build your own a tribe or a community, because let's say I put a video on your best friend's website, and on their Facebook page, you would be like, who's this Joey guy? And why is he saying all these nice things about my friend? And so then that would start to build your relationship with me. So it all just, and so I find that appreciation, just that act of saying why you appreciate someone, you go through this whole litany of awesome leadership training within 30 seconds. and so that's why I love appreciation so much. And I think gratitude is the foundation of it, but I think appreciation is the putting it into action.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I think it's really cool that you made this association with leadership and the actual ripple effect it has, because we might only think about the first thing that we do. So the fact that we are influencing in a positive way the person in front of us, but in fact it has a ripple effect, and the effects in general and in time are much bigger and much more beautiful than we initially thought. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, I wanted to ask you if you have like a quote, some words of wisdom that you really love about gratitude or appreciation.
I'm not a huge quote guy. It's funny. My biggest thing is seeing the greatness in yourself and seeing the greatness in others. That's ultimately live. I don't have a lot of quotes that I pull up. The thing I've been talking about recently is a lot of fear and the power of fear, and so the quotes that are coming to me right now is argue for it if you argue for your fears, they're yours. You've ever heard that? And the other one is Robin Sharma. Do you know who he is? Yeah. So he talks about step into your fears. Like if you're afraid of it, that's probably where you should go. So those are the thoughts. I apologize for not having a specific quote.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
For that. I should do, that's something I should do a better job of. The thing about the fear is really interesting. And this is like in gratitude as well. Like, can I really be grateful for this? Like, who am I to be grateful for this? Or who am I to be appreciative of this? Or there's so much suffering in the world. And there's so much this. To own that stuff, I think is really scary for people. And to own appreciation for people is really scary. And I think that's just, it's just interesting these days. And so that's why I've been dealing with a lot of fear.
Mm-hmm. That's great, because this is keeping us from seeing, like you said, from seeing our greatness, and because when we are focused on fear, I don't know if you've read Hardwiring Happiness.
I've read parts of it. I haven't read the whole book yet.
Yeah, it's really good. Like when we are in the state of the brain that focuses on fear and what might happen or things like these, it's really hard for us to feel the appreciation, because we don't have any space in our brain to actually focus on that. And when we deal with the fears and we get to a better state, like an appreciative state, it's much easier for us to see the resources rather than the threats, and to actually create something. Because when we're focused on our fears, we just look out for things so they won't happen. We invest resources so that something bad wouldn't happen, instead of investing those resources in actually creating something and doing something positive.
Yeah, it's so true. Like my wife and I call that circling the wagons. In America, the out west, where you had to circle the wagons to protect the women and children from the whatever you had to protect them from,
Yeah.
and we circle our wagons when there's nothing there, and it's hard. You think something bad's going to happen, and so you get defensive for sure.
Yeah, yeah, but we are wired this way, so we shouldn't feel bad about it. We just need to act and to consciously choose something else, because otherwise, it's really hard because of our hard wiring, because of how we are built as humans,
Yep.
and the fact that our brain wants us to survive, and this is the most important thing that it does. It helps us survive, not actually be happy or
Right.
enjoy life itself. But on this, I was very curious to find out, what do you do when it's hard to be grateful? Like you said, when when you have a not so good day waking up, or when you have all kinds of challenges, what do you do?
Yeah. So this was a huge breakthrough I got about a year, about 10 months ago. Uh, it What I started to realize is that when you're having a bad day or when something's not working for me, is that what my I suck voices are running the show. Things aren't good enough. It won't work out. I don't have what it takes, whatever, and I think we all have some version of that. Right. And I just say, those are all your I suck voices. And a huge breakthrough for me to realize is that those voices are all true. There's places where you suck. There's places where you aren't good, where you've made a mistake. All of those things are true. But what my videos and what the tribute, the app shows is that while, yeah, all those are true, you're also amazing and brilliant and determined and inspirational and thoughtful and creative and all these other things. So what has been really helping me is not trying to make those voices go away, because after 45 years of thinking about stuff, they never go away. They just change. But what helps me now is to say, like, okay, yeah, I suck there, but I'm also this over here. So the more I can own where I suck, I can own my greatness. And the more I can own my greatness, I can own where I suck. And that, it just kind of took the edge off of things. And so now I'm able to more quickly work through the funks, the frustrations. Like I said, just 2 days ago, I woke up in a horrible one. And then the other part is that sense of community, sense of understanding what other people see about me is just huge, because I don't wake up feeling thoughtful, inspirational, or determined. But those are the three words that, I have 50 people that have responded to my app. And those are the words that people use. And so at some point I have to say, okay, I must be that just at least a little bit. Maybe I'm not that a lot, but maybe I'm at least enough to get out of bed and get going. And that's what I do. And that was a big shift for me, because I used to think like, I got to have these voices go, those negative voices, I need to make them go away. Like if I was really inspirational, then I would never feel not inspirational. And I just realized that that's not the case. You suck sometimes and you're great sometimes. And it's just a perspective change.
Yeah, it feels so much better when you can accept this, and you don't need to fight this anymore. Like you are enough, and you accept the fact that you have good parts and bad parts, and you don't need to judge yourself so much. And I love one thing that you told, that I wanted to bring this up, the fact that they don't go away. And neither the negative voices or the bad feelings, but it's so much easier to go through them and to overcome them when you have this kind of a practice and when you do something about it. This is what we're doing here, and what I want you to understand, gratitude seeker, that you will still have some challenges and you will still have bad days, but having this foundation of gratitude is going to help you so much in overcoming them and in minimizing them while enjoying life much more.
Hey, I'm so sorry. It's 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. in the morning here. My alarm is going off. I can be right back.
Yeah, no problem.
So sorry. It's actually my wife's alarm. I feel so bad.
No problem. No problem. We'll just cut it out. It's really okay. So I'm really curious to find out from you what if you could go back in time. What would you tell your younger self about gratitude and appreciation? Like when you were younger and you weren't able to understand this and to actually live this, what would you tell your younger self about this?
Yeah, the crazy part is that not knowing how to live it was like a year ago. So I don't have to go that far back. But it's funny. I was just talking to a woman that I went to college with, and she was saying how she was like, oh, I was so intimidated by you. You were part of the cool kids. And I was like, I had no idea that I was intimidating to anybody, because I was so freaked out about all, being worried about people liking me and pretty sure that they didn't, and all of that stuff. And so I'm pretty clear that I wouldn't have listened to myself if I told myself this, because people probably told it. But the idea of appreciating yourself, seeing your greatness, seeing, and not your perfection, not you, and this is the part that has been the most amazing about this whole work, is what I realized is that we all see each other's, like, we know, like, you have friends that, that have all sorts of good sides and bad sides, and you like them. And they don't have to talk about their bad sides, because, we pick up on each other. And the idea that people see our bad sides and they still like us, and you don't have to hide it. They already know about it. It's nothing, there's nothing secret. You're not that good at lying. And, we just aren't. And if I could tell myself to say, like, hey, just relax. People like you. You're not perfect, but you have all these things. And just like them, they're not perfect. They have all these things that are really great. And if you could just be with that, it will change your life, because you won't spend so much energy trying to, put on a good show, or, pretend to be something that you think you need to be, or any of that kind of stuff. It will just give you so much more energy. You'll connect better with people. I spent so much time trying to figure out who I had to be to get a date. If I had just relaxed a little bit, it would have been so much easier. But then, of course, I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have my son. So things would have been different. So if I could go back, that's what I would say. And I think that applies right now, even more so, that you don't have to put on the front. People like you much more than you think. And I can prove it, because I can do a video for you. You can pull up the app. You can send it out to people. Like, I can prove it.
Yeah, I think this is actually really, really good, that you can actually prove the fact that people have, usually they have a much better opinion about you than you have about yourself. I'm pretty sure about that, because I think it's the same with the way we look and the way we see ourselves. Like, we see ourselves every day in the mirror, and we only see the things that aren't okay, because we see it every day. It's nothing new. And when something new and that's not okay on our face or on our body or something, we magnify that a lot. And we forget that, and this is, I think, most relevant for women. We forget that we are all of our body, we are all of our beauty, all of our charm, and we just forget about that, because we are so used to that. But people, when they see us, they see the whole thing, and they see the beautiful parts much more than we see them. This is
Well,
how I see it.
well, yeah, that's because they're worried about their parts, their bad parts.
Yeah.
That's the truth. We think everyone's all worried about us, but the honesty is I know they're not worried about them because you're not, or I know they're not worried about you because you're not worried about them.
Exactly.
Right. We're all walking around thinking everyone's, looking at us when the fact is they're all looking at each other. We're all trying to hide. We're all spending so much energy trying to hide the things that we think people don't want to see or would not like us if they saw it. But the fact is they already see it and they still like us. And it's just because, and just like we see their parts, they're not so good parts, and we still like them.
Yeah.
And if we just can bring that energy, or just take all that energy down a notch, I think we could take all that and focus it to something more interesting, more powerful, more effective, and that will address some of the big challenges that we have in our lives and in the world.
Totally. But how did you get to understand gratitude and appreciation? And did you have like an experience that helped you be more appreciative, or how did it happen?
Yeah. So it was kind of a two-step process for me because I'm not very smart. It took me a long time. So the videos that I do, the tribute videos, started as a gift from my wife. It was 6 years ago now. I needed to, it was her birthday, and I needed a gift. And so I had this idea of doing these videos. And so the videos are just people on their smartphone saying, for my wife, it was Sue is, and then a few words. And we put all those together. And when I showed at her birthday party, she loved it. I loved it. Everyone loved participating in it. And at that moment, it was very clear that Sue's perception of her life, she thought her life was so big. But when you took in all of her friends and her family and coworkers, and just her life was so much bigger than she gave herself credit for. And then as soon as I did that, people started asking me to do the video for them, for their friends and family, and I did more. And so I started a business around it. In every video that I do, it says, hey, it just shows that we're all more than we think we are. We just have a much bigger impact on the world than we know. So fast forward to, it was not this April, but last April. So whatever that is, 14, 16 months ago. And I was in Colorado. I had actually gotten myself sick because I had gotten in an argument with some folks, and I was just really worked up about this argument. And I was on vacation, and my family was out skiing, but I was sick because I had gotten so upset because people had said something about me and I thought they shouldn't have, and all that kind of stuff. And I sat down and I was sitting there and I just said, Joey, you got to accept what the videos show. Like, I had never done a video for myself, but you have to accept that you're more than you think you are. And up until that point, I had never gotten that for myself. Like and when I did, like, all this weight came off of me, and I was able to look back just to see, all the way back to my childhood where this one thing happened. I got really embarrassed, and then I spent my whole life trying not to be embarrassed again, which is all that happened in this other case.
Yeah.
And since then, when I finally got like, whoa, I'm more than I think I am. I'm not perfect, but I have all these other skills and abilities. Since that moment, so that's, like I said, it's been 14, 16 months. I've had this sense of like, I can do this. I'm going to figure it out. And it just taking the next step, take the next step. And my life has like none of this training, the app, the trainings that I do, the speaking that I do, none of that existed 16 months ago. And now just like moving forward, and from that, I'm way more clear on my purpose. Like, I'm out to raise the levels of appreciation around the world. Like, I had it as like a way back in the world, but now it's much clearer. And then I have the great fortune of every single day I live in the world of appreciation. I'm doing videos. So all day, every day, I'm editing videos and talking about videos. I'm talking about the app. I'm having people like you just say, I didn't know people liked me so much, or I didn't know people want to. So all I hear is people saying nice things about each other. So I'm a little bit weird that way. There's no way you will ever have enough evidence to show me that people don't say nice things about each other.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I love the kind of world you're creating. And I think we're on the same wavelength of how we see the world and how we would like to see the world, like more appreciative towards each other and more grateful in general. And I really love that.
Thank you. Yeah. And I just want to say, like, a lot of times, like, I live in Northern California, so there's a lot of everyone's gratitude and appreciation, and it gets thrown around I think it used to mean something very, very powerful, but it's a little bit haphazard now. Like, there's gratitude, everywhere. And what I mean by, to me, appreciation is a tool to produce amazing results. It's not like just to feel good about yourself. It's really about building up the confidence in yourself and the people around you so that you can move forward and address whatever challenges you got, like whatever thing that you want to accomplish. What is that? I believe we all have a unique purpose, that we see the world in our own way, and that there's things that we can contribute, and we're the only ones to do it. And I believe that when you can appreciate yourself and others, you're more likely to make that happen. So I don't look at appreciation as like, woo, we all live in happiness and love and that, that. It's about producing amazing results. That's
awesome. That's awesome. I think that seeing things in this way and actually going deeper, and not just, that's why I actually asked you about when did you have the experience when you actually felt and understood with all of your being the concept, and you actually live it, because many people know about gratitude, appreciation, and like you said, they're just words that are thrown around, but they're not actually living it. And when you actually live it and you feel the feeling, and you express it, and you living in this state, it's just amazing. And it's such a big difference from just understanding a concept.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's why folks they go to theappreciationnation.com, they can download the app, or it's a web app. So you just sign up for it at that point. And because it's a habit, it's a muscle, it's something you got to do every day. Because it, like I said, there's almost no times I wake up like, woohoo, I'm inspirational or thoughtful. Like, I don't do that. I wake up like, okay, now I've been meditating and I've been journaling and I've been doing all sorts of things in the morning. And so my mornings are much, much better. But I don't think I'm ever going to wake up 100% confident in myself. And you need tools, you need structures, you need ways to help you see your greatness and see the greatness in other people, because it's so easy not to.
Totally. Not even Anthony Robbins, or I don't know, these people that we see on TV, or that we know that they are very inspirational. They don't wake up like that. They have a routine in the morning that they do, and that helps them get into the state that they want to be in. So it's something like a muscle that you do every day that helps you see the world in a certain way, and experience it in a certain way, and actually get to inspire others afterwards.
Awesome. And then can I add just something, a routine, or an invitation for a routine that would help you?
Totally. Yeah.
So after you get up about 10 or 15 responses from your people, what you want to do is every day when you first turn on your computer or you first pull up your phone, whatever that is, you can go back to the app page, and there's a button that says, I can do this. And you just hit that button and it pulls up the things randomly. And you just, every day, you just look at that, and it just will remind you that, one, you got skills and abilities that you don't know, and two, you got people there to support you. And it just starts it off in a good way. And I just learned, have you read the Tools for Titans, this book, the Tim Ferriss book?
I haven't.
Yeah, you'll love that book. When he has this one part where he says, one of the guys that he talks about, every hour has an intention to think about. He says, I wish you to have the best day of your life. And he wishes that to like two people walking by. And
Wow.
just in that intention, and this guy says that intention just, gets you out of yourself and elevates you. And so another thing you can do is you go through that and you look at these, these people and they're saying these wonderful things about you. You can take that in and then just wish them back. Like, I just wish you to have the best day of your life. And who knows if that happens or not, but it just creates the day. It starts the day off your computer time at just a different energy level. And so it's fun.
Totally. Thank you for that. We are nearing the end of our time together. And I wanted to ask you, where, other than the appreciationnation.com website, can people find you? And also, if they can contact you, where can they contact you?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Joey Chandler, on Facebook, and we have the Appreciation Nation. There's a Facebook group they can come join and ask questions and talk to people. And just Joey at theappreciationnation.com is the best way to get in touch with me. And yeah, I really invite people to come try the app. It's really, really fun. It's just fun.
It sure is. And I got an idea that we could, in the show notes, we could put both of our links and see what happens. If you love the interview, if you love something about me or about Joey here, you can write it there really easily. And also, the cool thing about the app is that at the end, after you fill out that short form, it only takes like a minute or two. It depends on how much you want to write. You can actually create an account, and you can get your own link that you can send forward. So do that. I think it's really great for you to do it, to express the appreciation and also to create your own account and spread it around. I think it's really brilliant.
Awesome, man. Thank you. Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see how many because you do such awesome work. I would love, and you got all these people listening, and you just created this podcast. Like, you're like what, 10, 12 years old, like young guy who's doing awesome. I wish I was anywhere near as great as you when I was your age. So I want to see just you have like, hundreds and hundreds of posts, because I know you make an impact on people's lives in all sorts of ways, and that would be really fun. So all you listeners, go fill that link out.
All right. Thank you. It has been great having you.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Yeah. And awesome work.
Thank you so much.